Okay, RM, I want to talk about the portfolio for Sheridan and extras, what to include. I always included drawing and painting when I applied. I only applied twice. Second time I applied for fun. I might try again because I have a lot more work, a lot more digital now that I could put into my portfolio. I could do the turnaround in digital. And then I would do the hand drawing, and I would do the layout. And object drawing, they don't ask for it anymore, so you can put that in your extras. But don't do little tiny tracings, do large ones. If you're tracing, just trace it out and then go over it again. If you have a light box, go over it in the light box a couple times, so it doesn't look like a tracing. And if you're doing on canvas, I have a couple of large ones here I could show. I'm working on the bear, and here I'm working on cowboy painting, so I always include those, but I don't have any more paint to finish them. And you could include a cartoon. If you're doing on canvas, you could include stuff like Mickey Mouse, like sketches that you're doing. So I would include that. If you're doing portraits, you could do the portrait back here I could show you. A couple that I brought up. I would include these. The cowboy drawing of the horse. They like to see horses. So to start, this oil is quite expensive. I got a bear I could put in. Portrait. Cinderella I could put in as a sketch. And a pencil sketch of the queen, although I could use more space up here. But to start, for painting, so these are canvas paintings I would put in. If you don't know what to put into your extras, and a reference, you can add an extra reference if you want to, but I would take a photo of them and put one page on one page. The most I would do is put 4 on one page. I've seen people put like 8 and 10 pictures on one page, and that's no good. Most people that graduate, even from an art school, they don't have digital. So they want to learn it, but sure, they expect you to be digital. So I guess you get higher marks if you have digital stuff, but if you don't, buy yourself canvas or go to the yard sale, pick up old canvas and paint over it. And buy your acrylic or buy your oil. I don't recommend watercolor because that's an expensive medium. A lot of people say, oh, it's very cheap. No, it's not. A box of watercolor costs like 50 bucks to 100 bucks. Plus you need the brushes, another 20 bucks on top of each. Plus you need a watercolor paper. If you're buying a big pad, you're paying at least 50 bucks. And that adds up a lot more than it does acrylic, a lot more than it does oil. So I always stayed away from watercolor. Even markers are very expensive, but a lot of people to do markers. So you can include some markers, but I never got to learn markers. If I did do markers, it would have been just like one time to test it. Somebody gave me some markers or something, but I would try it out. But mostly I was for oil painting, and that's why I went to art school. I could have stayed with Sheridan for art school, but I did not know they had art school. But you would have to pay that back a lot harder to pay back, because that's a 3-year program, plus you would need supplies, plus you would need food. So if you don't get into animation, I recommend applying to the art program they have, or the illustration program, or the 1-year art program. If you don't get into the art, then Because art, they go by credit. Illustration, animation, they go by the portfolio. So I don't know what kind of turnaround they're looking for. If they're looking for a character that's already made, or you have to make up characters. I hate that. I hate making up characters. I would just do like a blank face or something. And those basic blank poses that they have for animation, I would call that a character. But that's what I would put in my extras. If you don't know what to put in your extras, thanks for watching. Hopefully some of my tips help you. So just take individually. You could do, if they ask for 5 pictures, put in at least 1 painting and put in like 2 or 3 digital. And if you don't have access to digital, then just put in painting. But you might not get in that way because they might be looking for digital experts, they're not students. So that's what I think they look for. They look for experts. That's why they give most people low scores, or they just deny them. Then you have to apply to art program. So animation, I don't know. They mark like that, but so that's the extras. If you're doing portraits, put in portraits of real people, put in portraits of a cartoon, because you're applying to animation. So I would recommend doing 1 picture per page. You could get away with 2 pictures per page, but I did not know that when I applied. You could scan and make them smaller. I learned that with storyboarding. So I learned that late when I was applying. Or I would put in a little bit more in my extras, but I don't know where they mark you the most. And if they mark you the least in some spots, then that's what you work on. If you don't get in, you can reuse some stuff if you need to, but some stuff changes, like the storyboard changes every year. But your turnaround, you can most likely reuse it. So if you get a good score on it, and keep it. Hopefully some of my quick tips help you how to apply to shared animation portfolio, what to do with the extras. Thanks for watching. And this is more for people that don't have access to digital, and most don't, so they look for experts. So if you have all digital, then put in all digital, but I would recommend putting half painting and half digital. So you might need to buy a tablet at some point. Thanks for watching. Or take a course that has access to digital. Thanks for watching. Tips on how to get into shared animation and how to put the portfolio together.